In the previous video, we learned what state management is. We saw that instead of every component keeping its own copy of data, it's much better to have one central source of truth. But if you are learning Angular, you have probably noticed something confusing. Some developers say just use services, others say everything should be RxJS, then Angular introduced signals, and on top of that, many enterprise applications use NgRx. So, which one is actually correct? The answer is all of them because they solve different problems. So today, instead of comparing features, let's build one application together and watch it grow. As the application become more complex, you will naturally see why Angular gives us a different ways to manage the state. Let's start with the simplest possible application. Imagine we are building an e-commerce website. Right now, we have only one page, the product page. When the user clicks add to cart, we simply increase the cart count. That's it. Only one component needs this information. Nobody else care about the cart. So storing the cart inside the product component is completely fine. At this stage, introducing a service, RxJS, Signal, or NgRx would only make the application more complicated. This is an important lesson. State management is not necessary for all the applications. The first problem occurs. A few days later, your manager comes to you with a new requirement. Can you show the cart count in the header? See, it's simple. But suddenly, the header component also need to know how many items are in the cart. The problem is the header doesn't know what's happening inside the product component. Both components now need the same information. So where should we keep it? This is where Angular services become useful. Instead of storing the cart inside the product component, we move it into a shared cart service. Now the product component updates the cart, the header read it. Both components are using the same data. Instead of maintaining two copies, we have only one. If the cart changes, both components immediately see the updated value. This is simple, easy to understand, easy to maintain. And for many applications, this is all you need. A common misconception is that every Angular application needs NgRx. That's simply not true. Many production applications work perfectly with just services. But the application don't stop growing. Soon, we add a wish list, a mini cart, checkout, product recommendations, recently viewed items. Now many components depend on the same cart data. The service is still working, but something else had changed. The cart isn't updated only by button clicks anymore. It also changed after API calls, after login, after applying coupons, or removing unavailable products, sometimes because another user updated the same order. Now our data is changing from multiple places, and that's where things become interesting. This is where RxJS become extremely useful. Instead of every component asking, has the card changed? The service simply announces whenever the card changes, every interested component automatically receives the latest value. Think of subscribing to a YouTube channel. When a new video is uploaded, subscribers don't keep checking the channel every second. They receive a notification. That's exactly how Observable works. Component subscribes once. Whenever new data arrives, Angular automatically delivers it. This makes RxJS incredibly powerful for asynchronous data. API response, WebSockets, timers, real-time updates, anything that change over time. If your application deals with a stream of data, RxJS is one of the Angular's greatest strengths. But RxJS has a learning curve. There is one problem though. RxJS is powerful, but it can also feel difficult. You have subscriptions, operators, pipes, subjects, behavior subjects, unsubscribing. For beginners, it can feel overwhelming. And that's one of the reason Angular introduced signals. Signals focus on making reactive state much simpler. Instead of thinking about subscriptions, you simply create a signal. Whenever that signal changes, Angular automatically updates every part of the UI that depends on it. No manual subscriptions, less boilerplate, less mental overhead. It's much more straightforward programming model. If your goal is managing UI state inside modern Angular applications, signals are often fantastic choice. But that does not mean signals replace RxJS. Not at all. Because they solve different problems. RxJS is about asynchronous streams. Signals are about reactive state. Sometimes you will use signals, sometimes RxJS, and in many real applications, you will use both together. Now imagine Our application becomes much larger, not 10 components, not 20, but the 100 components or more than that. Different teams are working on different features, orders, inventory, payments, coupons, notifications, and whatnot. Now ask yourself one question. When the card changes, can you immediately answer who changed it, when was it changed, why was it changed? As applications grow, predictability becomes more important than writing fewer lines of code. And that's exactly where NgRx shines. NgRx isn't just another place to store data, it's a complete architecture. Instead of changing state directly, every change starts with an action. That action describes what happened, reducer decide how the state should change, effects handle asynchronous work like API calls, and finally, the store updates the application. At first, this feels like an extra code, and honestly, it is. But that extra structure gives large teams something extremely valuable, that is consistency. Every state change follows the same path, every update can be tracked, every bug becomes easier to investigate. That's why NgRx is so popular in enterprise applications, not because it is easier, but because it's predictable. Now comes the question everyone asks, which one is the best? The truth is, there is not one. If only one component needs the data, keep it inside the component. If multiple components need shared data, a service is usually enough. If you are working with asynchronous streams, RxJS is the right tool. If you are managing reactive UI state in modern Angular, Signals are excellent choice. And if you are building a very large enterprise application with many developers, NgRx gives you structure and predictability. Don't choose the most popular tool, choose the one that solves your current problem. So remember, services, RxJS, Signals, and NgRx, they are not competing with each other. They are solving different problems at different stage of application's growth. Once you understand the problem, why each one is designed, choosing between them become much easier. In the next video, we will take a deeper look at Angular services and build a shared state from scratch. Because once you truly understand services, everything else becomes easy. So if you want to master Angular state management from ground up instead of memorizing random tutorials, this series is for you. Hit subscribe because we are just getting started. Thanks for watching and I will see you in next one.